guys, today we're doing a food tour here in Seoul, Korea. So in this food tour, we're going to be exploring a ton of food spots from viral salt bread, bagels and pasta to decades-old Michelin marinated crab and dumpling shops. And we're going to find out if they're actually worth the hype. And if you guys like videos like this and want to see more food tours around Asia, please give me a thumbs up. That would seriously help the channel. And yeah, let's get chonk. So right now we're here at Myeongdong Kyoja, an absolute Seoul institution that's been around since 1966. This place is highly recommended by my local friends here. This family-owned restaurant has one of the most focused menus I've ever seen. I think they only offer 4 items, but that's also how you know they're not fucking around. I love a specialized restaurant. This place is Michelin-recommended, and what makes it so unique is that everything is made in-house, such as their garlic kimchi. Today we're gonna try 3 of their 4 menu items, which would be their famous mandu, kalguksu, as well as their spicy bibimbapguksu. I'm gonna go ahead and try their kimchi first. Oh my god. This is hands down the most garlicky kimchi, or maybe the most garlicky thing I've ever had in my life. It's just got a really strong fermented flavor. It's got a great balance of like acid and sweet, not too sweet at all. Very savory leaning, and it just packs a ton of spice. It's super spicy, and my butthole might suffer later. So first up, we're gonna try their famous mandu, which is basically dumplings. There's like 10 plump dumplings in here, super generous portion. The skin is so thin, you can actually see the filling through it. And I really like how they're shaped like little cabbages. So cute. Gonna pair it with some sesame oil and then give it a bite. Pretty good. I think what I really like about it is definitely the skin. It's so delicate, pretty thin. I just love how it has this translucent quality to it. It's chewy without being too thick or gummy. The filling here has an incredible texture, and the flavor is really nice as well. You can taste that the pork in here is really fresh, and it's also incredibly juicy. It's just packed with finely minced pork with leek. I love how you can actually see the individual vegetables in there. It's not like mushed together. And the sesame oil here is pretty interesting. I think it's like a mix of vinegar and sesame oil, because I'm definitely tasting some elements of acid in there. It pairs so well with the dumpling because it just really helps cut through the richness of that pork. Pretty good dumpling. So juicy. And now we're gonna try their signature kalguksu. So kalguksu literally means knife noodles. This whole bowl is just loaded with garnishes on top. There's beef jerky, stir-fried onions, and there's also these really cute pyramid-shaped dumplings. I'm gonna go ahead and try the broth first. Oh wow, the broth here is seriously rich and so flavorful. It's kind of packed with that chicken essence in there. I think it's a chicken broth. It tastes like chicken. The golden color of the soup is so beautiful, and I just love how the consistency here, it's not overly thick, but it still packs a punch of flavor. Now I'm gonna try the noodles. So when it comes to knife cut noodles, a lot of times I think about the Chinese version, which is usually al dente and has like a cuckoo texture to it. This one right here is really different in the sense that it's pretty soft, it's really slippery, very smooth. It just kind of like slides down your throat in a way. From what I've read online, this kalguksu is actually really different than the rest because they directly boil the noodles into the broth. So they're really absorbing a lot of that chicken essence as they're cooking, and you can definitely taste that. The noodles themselves are actually super flavorful on their own, and that also probably contributes to the soft texture that you're getting here. I'm gonna try the pyramid dumplings. I think fillings-wise, it tastes super similar to the mandu that we just had, but that said, the skin is totally different. The skin here feels more flat. It definitely reminds me more of a wonton skin in a sense that it's more delicate. There's not a ton of filling in there, but it's still pretty savory. You can definitely taste the meat, and I'm gonna mix everything together and just try it all together. Oh wow. I think the beef jerky in here is definitely my most favorite element from this whole dish. It just adds this really umami concentrated punch, and together with the stir-fried onions, it really brings out the sweetness from the beef. Overall, it just pairs so well with that chicken broth. You're getting that soft, slippery noodle, the rich chicken broth, dumplings, the savory umami beef, and also some sweet onions and I think chives in there. It's so complex, and I really like how each bite that you're having, there's a bit of a surprise in there. And finally, here we have the bibimbapguksu. These are the spicy mixed cold noodles, and I'm really excited to try them because I've never had them in this green color. There's some sliced cucumbers on top for freshness. I'm gonna give it a mix and give it a try. Oh my god, these noodles right here are like hella long, and they've actually already cut it. I'm really happy right now. I've had a shit ton of spicy cold noodles in my life, and I think this is one of the best versions I've ever had. First of all, that red sauce in there, it's super similar in flavor compared to the fermented kimchi that I just had. Very, very garlicky. It's like sweet, it's tangy, it's spicy, it's savory. There's so much depth in here. The sauce is definitely what makes this dish really shine. And apparently, from what I read up, the red sauce is actually made with sun-dried Korean red pepper paste. And it's been aged at a really low temperature. So you're getting this spicy kick that eventually just builds. But it also has this mysterious lingering taste, maybe from the garlic, but also this slight sourness that really keeps it interesting. And the noodles here are so good. I'm definitely biased here, but I think I prefer the spicy cold noodles here over the knife cut noodles. I love a good chewy noodle, and I think these ones right here deliver perfectly. And I'm also someone who likes a punch of flavor, so I think the spicy, tangy sauce from the aged gochujang in here is way more interesting to me than the softer, milder Kogeuk soup. That said, the knife cut noodles are also super flavorful. It's kind of like more elegant, and I can totally see how that dish would be super hearty and could warm you up on a really cold day. But for now and for today, I think I would prefer this just because of how refreshing it is. So right now we're here at Artist Bakery, and it's honestly really hard to miss because there's literally so many people just lining up at the entrance. So smart tip is to definitely scan the QR code once it opens, and then you can remotely wait in line. For us, it took us around like 2 hours of waiting since 9 o'clock. So this bakery is by the same team as the hugely popular London Bagel Museum. Like seriously, this whole restaurant group right now has so much hype. And this place actually opened a few years ago, and they specialize in salt bread. So salt breads right now has become this massive craze that has swept through the Korean cafe scene. You can find it at so many bakeries, but it is really Artist Bakery that captures everybody's attention right now when it comes to salt breads. As you walk in, there's so many different kinds of pastries, mostly salt breads. There's like a dozen different flavors, everything from potato cheese, spring onion cream cheese, truffle, Earl Grey, garlic butter, even squid ink cheese. So we're gonna try three of their most popular flavors, which would be the plain soft salt bread, the truffle salt bread, as well as the Earl Grey salt bread. I also got a side of truffle mushroom soup as well as a lemonade. I'm also really curious about the sauces. I heard that they could pair really well with the salt bread, so I got their #1 signature sauce. I have no idea what the hell that is, but we're about to find out. And then I also saw this other salt bread that's basically stuffed with spring onion garlic cream cheese, so I got a side of that because why not just make your own? Alright, I think I'm gonna try the truffle cream soup while it's still hot. There's some olive oil on top, some mushroom pieces. Alright, I'm just gonna mix everything in, give it a bite. Cheers! This is a really good truffle mushroom soup. The truffle flavor in there is literally so fragrant, really aromatic without being super overwhelming. The whole soup, because there's also a lot of mushroom bits in there, it's just packed with that umami, earthy flavor. And then when you add it with that buttery cream, it just feels so rich, so hearty. Nothing is kind of like overwhelming one another, and that's what I love about a good soup. The flavors are literally so appetizing, so addictive. Like for real, I just want to chug this whole thing. So good. Now onto the bread. They actually toast the plain soft salt bread for you and bring it out for you, especially if you're dining in. Just from the looks of it, there's this nice golden brown crust on the outside, and then there's some salt sprinkled on top. It kind of looks like a mix between a bun, a bagel, and a pretzel somehow. Wow, the texture here is absolutely incredible. I don't think I've ever had bread like this before. Especially at the bottom here, you're really getting that crispiness. It's got a bit of that crunch. And then the inside, it's so moist and it's also really chewy. I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of like dense, but also soft and fluffy at the same time. And flavor-wise, I'm definitely getting a lot of that butter fragrance. It's pretty light. There's a pinch of saltiness on top that also kind of creates a really fine balance. But yeah, the most unique point about this whole salt bread is definitely the chewy texture. As a whole, you're really getting that perfect balance of sweet, savory, buttery. I just feel like this is such a simple bread, but there's a lot happening all at once. And this is the plain bread. I think it would go so well with all the sauces, so I'm just gonna try the sauces right now. Gonna go with the signature sauce first. Oh wow. Just when you think it couldn't get any better, this sauce is delivering. And it's because I love horseradish. It's actually some kind of horseradish cream. So it kind of reminds you of wasabi a little bit. Not only do you get this nice zing, you also get this incredible acid and brightness in the sauce. The cream itself is also really velvety, really smooth in texture, and it's just packed with that horseradish flavor. Now I'm gonna try it with a spring onion garlic cream cheese. Holy shit. Guys, having been to college in New York, I've had a lot of like cream cheese, all kinds of cream cheese because we have so many awesome bagels. This cream cheese right here is literally insane with that spring onion garlic flavor. And what I really like about it is that the spring onion doesn't feel too sharp. It's really fragrant. It still has a bit of the same, but it's not like super overwhelming. I'm just really loving that clean and fresh and light flavor you're getting. And that cream cheese is incredibly buttery. It's really thick. It's kind of dense. I'm actually so glad I got the sauces here because I waited so long in line. I might as well try everything. And I feel like in this instance, it really did not disappoint. It really elevated the whole salt bread experience with like different flavors. I'm really having fun with this right now. Now that I think about it, the texture of the salt bread, it kind of really reminds me of like a denser kind of croissant, but like soft at the same time, but also crispy. And now I'm gonna try the truffle salt bread. All I can say is if I only got this truffle flavor right here and nothing else, this whole place would not be worth the wait. But something about it, the texture, it's just not as chewy. This one is kind of one-sided. It's a little bit more bland despite the truffle aroma in there. I would definitely need to pair it with sauces. Dad also prefers the salt bread over the truffle one. It's just better in terms of flavor and texture. Definitely get the salt bread. And finally, here we have the Earl Grey version. This is probably the most desserty one we have. There's an Earl Grey icing on top and underneath is a salt bread. I'm gonna give it a try. This reminds me of a softer, chewier version of a cronut. What I can appreciate is that I can tell that the base of this bread is actually the plain salt bread. That's what's adding this whole savory sweet flavor to the Earl Grey icing right now. There's a really nice balance of like saltiness from the bread, but also the tea fragrance that you're getting from the Earl Grey flavors. It's got this floral aromatic quality to it that's pretty nice. Personally, I like that it's not too sweet, and it also has that really nice, dense yet soft texture from the OG salt bread. Overall, not bad. I would say in terms of the ranking of all the salt breads I had, I would place the OG on top, Earl Grey second, and then third, the truffle one. But yeah, definitely get the sauces to mix with the breads because it makes it a lot more fun and interesting to eat. And finally, here we have the lemonade. I actually saw a whole tub of like lemons in there, so I was really curious, and that's the reason why I ordered this. Let's find out how this tastes like. It's definitely a little bit too sweet for me. It basically tastes like a lemon soda, but then I actually think regular people would like this because that sweetness would really help balance out the tartness from the lemons. Overall, this is a really refreshing drink, and I'm loving that fizziness in it. Do I think this place is worth the hours of waiting? I don't think so. If I were to do this all over again, I would definitely choose the takeout option, and I would literally just go for the plain salt bread and grab the two sauces to go. I feel like that would probably give you a better experience overall. But yeah, this is definitely a place I'll go back to when it comes to getting salt breads, and right now I feel like only the plain OG is really worth the hype. That's my opinion. So right now we're here at Buchon Yukhoe, and this place is an absolute Seoul institution because they've been serving Korean raw style beef for over 70 years, and that's a long ass time. I've literally seen everyone and their moms posting about this place on social media, so I decided to come check it out for myself. So right outside the store, you can already see an aquarium with live octopuses swimming around. It's literally so lively in here, and you will constantly hear the bang 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 noises because they're literally chopping up all the beef. So today we're gonna try their most popular dish, which is their raw beef with live octopus, and this is actually my first time trying raw and live octopus, so I'm a little bit nervous but also really excited. So here we have the main dish right here. It literally looks so stunning. You've got this plate of raw beef with egg yolk sitting right in the center. There's some radish sprouts scattered on top, some pear slices, and the octopus is still literally kind of wiggling. They've also brought out some side dishes. There's this radish soup, raw garlic, chili pepper, samjang, seaweed. I'm gonna go ahead and try the beef radish soup first because everybody keeps talking about how great that is. Oh my god, this is a really good soup. The broth itself looks so simple, but it's literally so flavorful. It feels super light and refreshing. It just has this really rich, strong, beefy flavor. I also really like how the radish is really soft. It kind of melts in your mouth a little bit, and even the beef pieces in here are perfectly seasoned. This is such a good way to start the meal, and it really feels so hearty. Oh yeah, I feel like I just need to chug this. So after you finish your first bowl of soup, they actually serve you another bowl of it. So I'm really loving it because the soup here is so good. I'm definitely adding points for this one. So here we have the absolute main star right here. It literally looks so beautiful. So apparently the beef here is made with domestic beef, and it's delivered fresh every single morning. I'm just gonna break up the yolk and mix it all up. As you're mixing it, you can definitely see the pear slices in there. All right, got a little bit of everything. Gotta give it a big bite. Oh wow, that land and sea combination is amazing. That beef and octopus is literally so fresh. The flavor is so incredible. It's just a really clean, refreshing taste to it. And that texture, it's soft and chewy at the same time. And then the live octopus, it kind of reminds me of like the texture of raw squid, except maybe a little bit chewier. And flavor-wise, I'm loving that sweetness in the meat itself. And because it's still moving a little bit, you're kind of getting some movement and suction in your mouth. I mean, it doesn't get any more fresh than that, to be honest. And I think the aftertaste actually comes from the sprouts. It's really fragrant. It kind of has like a spring onion flavor, but a lot more elegant, a lot more subtle. And I'm also loving the pear in there. It just gives you this nice, refreshing crunch. It also adds a bit of sweetness and fruitiness. And I'm gonna try it with the sesame oil. Oh yeah, that sesame oil, it just pairs so well. I can just tell the sesame oil here is really high quality because it's so fragrant. That richness from the oil, it just elevates the entire dish and all the flavors because it adds this really nice nutty fragrance to everything. Now I'm gonna try it with some seaweed and make a wrap out of it. All right, gonna give it a full bite. Oh yeah. Oh my god. You think the sesame oil is what takes it to the next level? That seaweed is literally so good. First of all, I like that it's not overly salty. It's the kind that actually has a lot of briny, oceany flavor to it. That's how you can tell it's a very high quality seaweed. I definitely think the seaweed has been roasted because I'm getting a lot of smokiness from it. And when you pair something like that to like a really refreshing beef and octopus, something that's like raw, it becomes a really fragrant umami bite. This is such a simple dish, but they do it so well here because the ingredients, you can taste how fresh it is. The octopus and beef, it's just so clean and fresh in your mouth. Both meats have this slight sweetness to it. It's very tender, it's really chewy, but in a good way. And of course, you're also getting that creaminess from the egg. And then the pear adds a sweet, refreshing crunch. And then dip it in some sesame oil for that nutty fragrance. Wrap it with some seaweed for some crunchy, smoky flavors. It just does not get any better than this. Oh my god, guys, look what I found! Wasabi! Oh my god. Sorry guys, I feel like so far I've been saying, oh my
god, the sesame is so good. Oh my god, the seaweed is so good. Oh my god, the wasabi is so good.
But I really mean it. I really feel like each bite with all those additions just took it to the next level. Brightens everything up and makes the bite even more appetizing. I love wasabi. I would encourage you to try with wasabi if you want something a little bit different, because so far this whole dish, in terms of flavors, it really leans towards the sweeter side. Of course, you're getting that nuttiness from the sesame oil and the smokiness from the seaweed, but it doesn't necessarily cancel out the sweetness. And I feel like wasabi, in this case, adds this kind of acidic, zingy component that makes everything feel a lot more balanced. Yeah, I definitely had the best bite with the wasabi. So good. Right now, we're here at Mandong Bakery. So this bakery actually went viral a few years ago, but the hype, I believe, has died down since. And everyone loves raving about their garlic bread, and I love a good garlic bread, so here we are. So this place originally started in Gangwon province, and it became such a huge phenomenon among bread lovers that people literally call this a holy site for bread. The space inside is pretty small. They only let in a few people, once at a time. And again, we're only here for one thing and one thing only, and that is their garlic baguette. This is their absolute signature product. And it's essentially this whole baguette that's drenched in this sweet garlicky buttercream sauce. It's literally soaked all the way through the cross section, and it honestly smells so incredible right now. I'm just gonna rip a piece and give it a try. Oh my god. Okay, after trying that first piece, I honestly get why people go crazy for this. That sauce, it's so rich and buttery, but it's also perfectly balanced with that savory garlic and sweet flavor. It's just so addictive. I think what really blows my mind is definitely the texture of this baguette. I just love how it's still crispy on the outside, and it's kind of almost like caramelized with this sweet honey glaze. And then inside, that's when you get the soft, fluffy breading. It's absolutely soaked in that garlic buttercream. I'm just really glad that I did not have to wait in line in order to go inside the bakery. I would say it was a pretty smooth experience. Would I line up hours for this at the height of its peak? I am not sure. I mean, it's a really good tasty garlic bread. But that said, I do think it's a little bit too sweet for my own personal taste. But overall, this is still a really good garlic bread, and I would highly recommend it, especially if you've never tried Korean garlic bread before. This is an amazing amazing place to do so. But precisely because it's so buttery and so rich, I definitely need to take my time to work on this thing. So I would recommend maybe pairing this with like a soda or something like that, so you can just kind of like chase it down. It's a nice snack for sure. So right now we're here at Hotel GGoodd, and this restaurant is super popular in Seoul right now with crazy wait times. We actually came here on a Monday and the line is still out the door, and it's like 3 p.m. in the middle of the afternoon. So that just goes to show how crazy popular this place is. I would definitely recommend coming here early or making a reservation. So as you walk inside the restaurant, it feels pretty vibey. Everything feels pink in here. There's tons of natural light. There's also some cute props kind of scattered around. Today we're going to try two of their most popular dishes, the house steak with all the fixings and their famous honey pork roast pasta. Oh my god, so here we have what everybody has been craving, and that is the honey pork roast pasta. Pasta is coated with this beautiful pink sauce. If you've also got this whole thick piece of bacon that's coated with honey, I think. I'm actually gonna go ahead and try the bacon first. It's a good piece of bacon that's coated in honey. I just think honey is a great pairing with bacon in general because you're getting that sweet, savory balance. Do you appreciate that it is chewy and juicy at the same time? Pretty good. And now I'm gonna try the pasta. Oh wow. First of all, the pasta is cooked perfectly. It's got a perfect al dente to it. It's nicely chewy, and I feel like they've really absorbed the sauce really well. And then the sauce itself, oh my god, it's actually pretty flavorful. I really like how thick it is. It's also pretty creamy. It's got that classic tomato cream base, so in a sense, it kind of reminds you of a vodka sauce. But there's also this subtle honey flavor that's kind of coming through, and I think that's what's adding the sweetness in the sauce for sure. It's also slightly spicy. It's just a tiny bit, just a very subtle heat in there. And when you get the pasta, the sauce, the bacon all together in one bite, I think that's when it really shines. You're getting the creaminess, the spice, and that saltiness from the bacon. It just kind of matches each other so well. Not necessarily the best roast pasta I've had, but I feel like this is a pretty decent one when it comes to the flavor and the pairings. I think after a few bites, it can feel a bit creamy. I think some more brightness from the tomatoes from this dish would have really helped elevate some of the flavors. That would have been my personal preference. But overall, still pretty good. And here we have the house steak. It seems like this beef is actually cooked more to a medium well. You can see that little tiny pink in the center. It also comes plated with these crispy golden onion rings. I think there's also some sauces on the side. There's mustard, white horseradish or mayo, and ketchup. I'm gonna try the steak first. All right, let's give it a try. The steak here is seriously tender, really juicy in your mouth. Even though it's cooked medium well, I'm actually surprised by how juicy it still is. That said, I feel like the beefy flavor could come through even more. Maybe it's just the cut that they're using, or maybe I'm just really used to like the really heavy flavored American beef. I'm not really getting as much of that beefy steak flavor from this bite. But again, the quality of the steak here, just by how juicy and tender it is, it really makes up for it. I'm gonna try it with the sauces. Let's see what this mysterious white sauce is all about. It's actually truffle mayo. I just love how creamy it is, and I also like how the truffle flavor is not like super overpowering. Pretty nice with the steak. But my favorite is actually with the mustard because it really adds this nice acid and zing that really helps cut through the richness of the beef. Now I'm gonna try some of the onion rings. It looks like there's some cheese sprinkled on top. All right. I really like how they're perfectly fried and it's not greasy at all. That's really important when it comes to an onion ring for me. It's really crunchy, and I think that cheese powder on top, it definitely adds this extra savory umami quality to the onion ring. It's pretty soft, it's still sweet. It's just got a really nice smoky-ish flavor to it. Overall, a pretty great contrast with the batter. Pretty solid. So right now we're here at Jinmi Sikdang. This place is absolutely legendary because they've been consistently featured on the Michelin Guide since 2017. And according to my friends, it's basically known as one of the top places for crabs. So what makes Jinmi so special is that they're genuinely a soy marinated crab specialty restaurant. Since that's literally the only dish they have on the entire menu, it really goes to show how confident they are when it comes to their quality of the crabs. Today we're trying their signature soy sauce marinated crab set, which comes with all the traditional fixings. I'm just super excited because this is actually my first time eating soy marinated crab in Korea. I've only had them in the States and in Canada, and I absolutely love it. So I already know this is gonna be like a life-changing experience probably. So I'm actually here with my friend Jeannie, who is an absolute GGoodd expert. Apparently this dish originated from her mom's hometown, so she's had a ton of them. And I'm so curious to find out what she says about this. So as you sit right down, you can already see a bunch of banchans laid out. We've got some seaweed, some vegetable sides, some cabbage kimchi. Oh my gosh, here it comes. So we have the main dish right here, the soy sauce marinated crab. This is seriously visually overwhelming. Oh my god, each crab is completely packed with that beautiful orange eggs. The crab is already cut into bite-sized pieces, and it looks like they've topped it with some sliced peppers. So my dad's actually with me right now, and he's like totally jizzing over there. And by the way, he doesn't even like raw crabs to begin with, but he's literally like making all these moaning noises in the background. I'm just gonna go ahead and squeeze out the meat, and then let's give it a try. Oh my god. I get why my dad is jizzing. The meat is just so fresh and tender. It's so full, like there's really truly a real substance in each bite. And what I really like about this one is that a lot of times when it comes to soy marinated crabs, it could be overly sweet or overly salty, but this one, it's just the perfect balance of that sweet savory flavor. And also I really like the soy marinade that they're using here because it kind of has like this depth and complexity to it. It's a little earthy, it's a little umami. It's just the right balance. And because the marinade here is done so well, you really get to just focus on the pure flavors of the crab. I just really love that briny sweetness that you're getting from the crab meat on its own. And then the peppers on top also adds this really nice subtle heat, not overwhelming at all. It's such a simple dish, but I think it's really the simple things that makes it really hard to do, because when the ratio is off, then everything just tastes really different. And I think in this scenario, the crab is just done so perfectly, and I can totally understand why they've been a Michelin store for the last almost 10 years. So in Korea, there's actually a nickname for gaejang, which is rice thief, because when you mix it with the rice, the seaweed, it just kind of boosts all that crab flavor. It just goes really well together, and that rice is just soaking up all that crab juices. So we're gonna try that and then give it a bite. Then put some rice on the shell, mix it with everything, and then wrap it with seaweed. All right, we have the bite here. I'm just gonna stuff it in my mouth. God, quality of that seaweed that I just had is incredible. I don't think I've ever had seaweed that good. It just has this oceany flavor to it. It's not overly salty, it's just perfectly seasoned, and it's so aromatic and fragrant. Very earthy. It literally tastes like the ocean. And that slight bitterness from the seaweed just harmonizes with that sweet briny crab. It's a combination that is absolutely ungodly. And then when you mix all the intestines and roe with the rice, oh my god, that rice just absorbs all the juices. The seaweed wrapper just perfectly ties everything together. I think what really blows my mind is definitely the combination of the textures and flavors here. You're getting that firm, chewy, tender meat that feels so fresh, and then that super creamy roe that's really umami, and it also has this slight briny sweetness to it. And then of course the umami-rich marinade that's like perfect when it comes to the balance of sweet and salt. And when you pair it with the perfectly cooked rice and that incredible seaweed, oh my god, it's just... I really feel like I'm having a ratatouille moment right here. And also my friend who has had a lot of raw crabs in Korea, she's really enjoying this, I can tell. She's nodding. I think that's a win. So right now we're here at London Bagel Museum, and this place is definitely the #1 most queued, most hyped cafe chain here in Seoul right now. Or maybe even the entire South Korea. So today we're actually here at the Dosan branch because I heard the lines are super crazy near the Myeongdong main store. I would say for this branch, the busiest time is probably during the mornings. We came here during the afternoon and the wait time was about 1 hour, so not too bad. Still pretty long, but not as long as 3 to 4 hours, okay? So the whole concept of the store has this European vibe to it, lots of wood touches, antique details everywhere. It feels super cozy. It's kind of like Great Red Riding Hood. And there's all these beautiful trays of bagels and pastries. I also like how there's an open kitchen there. You can kind of see the chef baking all these bread. Just the entire store itself, it's really Instagram worthy. I'm not usually someone who gives a shit about this stuff, but since this is such a highly recommended place by everybody, I feel like it would be a crime not to review it. I just want to see whether the hype is justified. So today we're going to try two of their most popular flavors, which would be the green onion pretzel sandwich, as well as the garlic bagel. And we also got an onion bagel on the side. There's a whole bunch of cream cheeses they sell on the side as well, and I'm getting their #1 selling one, which is the maple, pecan, and cream cheese. So here we have the green onion pretzel bagel. It's filled with cream cheese that has green onions in it. Just look at how generous that cream cheese filling is. New York needs to be less stingy on this. Alright, this is actually the one that my sister highly recommends getting, so let's find out what the hype is all about. Maybe my expectations are a little bit too high for this one? I don't really understand why this thing is so special. Don't get me wrong, it's really good, but I'm not sure if I would line 3 to 4 hours for this. What I can appreciate about this is that the bread here is really chewy. It's also soft at the same time. I'm definitely getting that rice cake stickiness as I'm chewing on it. I also appreciate the cream cheese here. It's definitely on par with the really good ones I've had in New York. It's just super fragrant with that green onion flavor. Overall, it's definitely the green onions that makes this so special. It just adds this really fresh and sharp element that helps cut through the creaminess and richness of that cream cheese. The pretzel aspect also adds this extra layer here. You're getting that characteristic pretzel flavor with that slight saltiness. I don't want anyone to misunderstand me here. Again, this is a really good tasting bagel, and I know for a fact that the texture is very characteristic of a Korean bagel, such that it's a little softer, a little chewier. But that said, if you're someone who loves bagels, I would still encourage you to maybe try this. Having tried Artist Bakery the other day, I definitely feel like that one is more worth it for dining in as opposed to this one. Soul bread, it was just tastier in my opinion, but they're really different things, so this is just my personal preference. Alright, and here we have the garlic bagel. Just from the looks of it, it definitely has that unique Korean garlic bread look, such that it's kind of like glazed and there's a bit of parsley on top. I'm gonna take a bite. Yeah, flavor-wise, it's very similar to Paris Baguette's garlic croissant. It's basically this distinctive Korean sweet garlic flavor. There's definitely more sweetness than there is garlic. The garlic flavor is there, but it's not like overpowering. It's more of a gentle roasted garlic flavor rather than the super pungent sharp ones. But when I compare this to the previous bagel that I had, I think it lacks the same chewiness. Don't get me wrong, it's still really moist inside. I just wish it was a bit airier, a bit chewier. Right now, it's a little bit mushed and dense together. This is overall just alright for me. Still good, but nothing too special. And here we have the onion bagel. Just from the looks of it, it looks like there might have been some Parmesan on top. Gonna give it a bite. You know what? Initially, judging by its look, it looks a little dull, and maybe that it would be kind of like the least interesting to eat, but this is actually not the case at all. I think the bagelness, the whole texture, the chewiness, this one is the perfect example. Maybe precisely because it's kind of a plainer one, I can really get to the bottom of the textures and really taste the flavor of the dough. There's nothing to hide from. There's no filling, no sauces, no toppings for it to hide from, and it's pretty good. I'm loving the dough in here because it has this slight onion flavor to it. It's just mildly sweet. You can also see that the dough in here, the reason why it's kind of like chewier is also because of the air pockets in there. It's definitely less mush compared to the one that we just had. And I feel like during times like this, I can definitely say being simple is just better sometimes. And also, genuinely, I think this is a better baked bagel. Now I'm gonna try it with the maple pecan cream cheese. So my mom, who's an absolute fiend when it comes to pastries, she actually got a head start on the maple pecan cream cheese already. She ate it with the garlic bagel and said the whole thing just tastes different overall. I guess we're about to find out. Oh my god, that cream cheese is heavenly. Like just from the first bite with the pecans, it feels like I'm eating popcorn. That caramelization is insane. It's so nicely candied, but not like overly sweet either. It just pairs so well with that cream cheese because the cream cheese has this acidic element to it. It's a really slight one. And I'm also getting some kind of like honey flavor in the cream cheese. It's just really floral, really fragrant when paired with the pecans, especially with a plainer, more elegant bagel like this. It goes so well together. Since I'm not the biggest fan of bagels, I don't think I'll come back, but this might make me think twice. especially with that maple pecan cream cheese. But I would only come here if there's no line or if there's a really fast line for takeout. Because personally, I don't think this is special enough for me to make a trip out here and wait for hours for, a bagel that I think is just good. So there you have it. For now, I'm just gonna enjoy this with the lovely cream cheese. So right now we're here at Hanmiok. This place is super popular because not only is it Michelin recommended, they also went viral last year on TikTok for this dish called chonkyABG. I'm sorry, I'm definitely butchering the pronunciation here. Today we're opting for their signature set so we can kind of fully experience what they have to offer. So right as you sit down, you have the basic side dishes. There's your basic palace vegetables, perilla leaves, different kinds of kimchi, and they also provide garlic sprout pesto and the sea salt. Today we're gonna get their signature set so we can kind of experience a range of dishes that they really specialize in. So the signature set comes with brisket sushi, beef steak, and we also added some Hokkaido scallops, as well as their signature platter, the one I cannot pronounce correctly. So here comes the first part of our set, the beef brisket sushi. And they're torching it right in front of us. They also added some pickled onions and recommended that we eat it with wasabi. All right. Oh wow, that beef sushi is literally so smoky, soft, melt in your mouth, tender. It's just so flavorful when you torch the beef because you're really bringing out the oiliness, the fattiness from the beef. Pickled onions also do an amazing job of cutting through all that richness. It just adds this sharp, tangy element to it. And of course, my favorite wasabi always just pairs so great with sushi. Right, so here we have the beef steak combo. This one is served with scallions, shiitake mushrooms, water parsley, and they're also cutting it right in front of us. Just from the initial looks, I can already tell that the marbling is so insane, and I'm also loving the sear on the beef. So they actually recommend eating it with salt first, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Oh yeah, beef quality is literally so insane. You can taste the marbling. Like so far here in Korea, I must say the beef experience has been kind of lackluster. Maybe I'm just really used to the beefiness from American steaks, but the beef here, maybe because they're using Hanwoo beef, it's just so much more flavorful. You can definitely taste the difference. This one right here, it just has this exquisite, beautiful char on the outside, and then the inside, it's still so juicy, so tender. So Hanwoo beef is usually known for its rich beefiness. It's savory with kind of like a balanced sweetness in there. It's also really tender, really nicely marbled. It's the Korean version of Wagyu. The steak right here, I can taste all of those textures and flavors. I just love how it's really, really buttery in flavor without feeling too greasy and too overwhelming, like some Japanese Wagyu can after a few bites. Now I'm gonna try with their homemade garlic pesto, which is how they recommend eating it. All right. That garlic chive pesto is so addictive. It kind of has this sweet and sour flavor to it, which kind of balances out the sharpness from the garlic. Overall, it's really, really fragrant. Although I do think the garlic is pretty strong for me, but it's also very, very flavorful. Pairing it with the garlic pesto definitely makes it a lot more refreshing in a way. Now I'm gonna try it with the beef sauce. Definitely getting some radish vinegary flavor. It's also a little bit sweet. Pretty great pairing because that acid really cuts through all that butteriness. And lastly, I'm gonna pair with the scallops, which is how the staff recommends eating it. Right now, I feel like with the scallop, it's honestly a little bit distracting for me. I mean, the scallops are pretty sweet and has this umami flavoring to it. Maybe someone who likes the surf and turf combo would really, really love that. Don't get me wrong, the scallops are really nice. I feel like I would just eat them separately because the beef quality here is so great. Honestly, you can just kind of like have fun with it, mix it with whatever you want. For me, I really like these pickles, so I'm just gonna go ahead and try that. So amazing with the pickles because it has this gentle sweetness and brightness that just really helps cut through all that marbling. You also get that refreshing crunch. So nice. And here we have their signature dish that we've all been waiting for this whole time, and that is so that word right there actually represents the Korean traditional platter of 9 delicacies. And Hanmiok's version right here is serving Korean beef brisket on a skillet pan. So traditionally, it's a Korean dish that's plated in 9 different sections in an octagon shape. Because basically reimagined this and turned this into a whole theatrical experience. It is seriously visually stunning just looking at it. So at first, the staff cooks the beef brisket. That oil from the beef is just used to cook the scallops, and then they add some vegetable sides one by one. There's the water parsley, the bean sprouts, bracken, kimchi, and finally the real highlight is when they pour in the egg mixture, and then they blowtorch the egg until it has this silky smooth finish, and cover the lid again to make it steam. And then there we have it, this beautiful arrangement of vegetables, meats, and the egg placed with those thin buckwheat pancakes on the side. So the staff said the trick here is to mix a few things and then take a bite. I'm just gonna go ahead and follow what she says. I'm gonna add a bit of literally everything that I can, and then dip it in some sauce and just pop it in my mouth. All right, here we have the full bite. Let's give it a try. Oh wow, this is a serious textural and flavor bomb right here. That beef brisket, it's pretty tender, although I feel like it could be even more melt in your mouth. But that said, what I really love about it is of course that smokiness, that fragrance that it's giving. It just has this really rich buttery flavor by itself. And then when you pair it with the other vegetables, the kimchi, the bean sprouts, all of those elements, they really add a refreshing crunch to it. The kimchi especially adds this really nice acid to kind of balance out that fattiness of the beef. And then the egg also is cooked in that beef oil, so it's just so fragrant. It also adds some kind of umami creaminess to the whole bite. And I'm also loving how chewy those buckwheat pancakes are. The only thing is that I wish there's actually more of those, but overall, in line with the traditional Korean way of eating, the fun here is again mixing and matching different ingredients, like a piece of meat over there, some kimchi over here, slap some wasabi to it while you're at it. And I just want to take a moment to shout out that piece of egg over there. It's incredibly flavorful because it's cooked in that beef oil. You're really getting all that richness. It's basically like butter for the eggs, except it's a lot smokier, it's a lot more fragrant. You just really can't go wrong with any combo because the ingredients are so fresh. I've just never had a Korean dish like this, and apparently this dish actually dates back to the 14th century, where Korean royalties would used to have this kind of food. And as someone who grew up with the K-drama Daechyeonggam, which is this royal drama about cooking and medicine, I'm just really glad that I finally get to try what it actually looks like on the show. Front of Muguok right now, and there's literally lines of people behind me, and I think the wait list is closed already. I'm really curious, is it really that good? We're gonna find out. So right now we're here at Muguok, this North Korean restaurant that's been getting so much buzz and hype lately, such that you'll have to come super early to get a spot. There's literally just crowds of people around this restaurant. First of all, I just want to say this is such a beautiful restaurant. The architecture is basically this really stylish Hanok house. Another thing that makes Muguok really special is definitely the open kitchen. You just simply cannot miss it as you're walking right in. There's also these two massive cauldrons right there. You can actually see the chicken soup boiling. It's kind of giving Korean Harry Potter vibes. Today we're gonna try their signature North Korean style samgyetang and their famous spicy braised chicken. These are dishes that have made Muguok legendary in this neighborhood, and we're gonna find out if it's actually worth the hype. So right now on the table, they've set us up with some homemade sauces. There's regular salt, ginger sauce, and I think this herbal sauce with like spices in it. There's also some homemade radish kimchi and some Jeju style barley water kimchi on the side. Both are made fresh in-house, and they're just super refreshing and really crunchy. So here we have the signature dish, which is the North Korean style samgyetang. I'm literally shook at the portion size here. It's like way more generous than I would have expected it to be for like a single portion. You've got a half chicken in there, and there's also some rice, ginseng sprouts, and ginseng roots. So they actually instructed us to first dissolve the ginseng roots and garlic into the broth before eating, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I am definitely most impressed by the chicken flavor in here. It has so much depth. It doesn't feel one note at all. It's savory, it's super warming, just so comforting, especially on a cold day. What stands out to me about the soup is definitely how creamy it is. You're definitely getting chicken bits in there, and they're just so well stewed. It's almost kind of like they're melted into the broth. That said, I know I put some ginseng roots in there, and I'm not really getting as much of that ginseng flavor. I think the focus here is definitely on the chicken. And honestly, they execute it so well here. Definitely one of the best soups I've had here in Korea so far. And now I'm gonna try the plain chicken, and I think there's some chives on top. Oh wow. Oh my god. The chicken is so tender. It almost kind of has like a melt in your mouth texture. It really falls apart in your mouth. I think the chicken flavor here is definitely enhanced by the broth that it's boiling in. It's really giving that rich umami savory flavor. It's like seeped in the meat. I'm also loving the steamed chives that are on top of the chicken. It just elevates the chicken in a way that makes it so much more fragrant. The whole bite, it's just so good. I don't think I've ever had anything like this. Now I'm gonna dip in the sauces, the salt, the ginger, as well as the special herb sauce. sauce. First of all, that ginger flavor is amazing. It's definitely giving like a Korean ginger scallion version. It's a little bit spicy, it's kind of tangy, and it just really helps cut through that richness of the chicken. Honestly, the chicken plain by itself is already so flavorful that I don't think it needs any of the sauces. You can appreciate it on its own. But if you really want to have fun with it and experience different flavors, the ginger and the herbal sauce definitely will not disappoint because it really kind of like transforms the bite into a different dish almost. They just pair with the chicken so well, and it really brings out the savory umami flavors all together. I think hands down this is the best meal I've had in Korea so far. Definitely one of the most unique. And this is coming from someone who doesn't really like steamed chicken in general. So good. Here we have the spicy braised chicken. I actually don't see a lot of people ordering this dish in the restaurant, but since I waited so long just to come in here, I just want to try a bit of everything. This one is served bone stew style. You can see how generous the portions are. There's literally different parts of chicken pieces in there. There's drumstick, there's breast, tons of bean sprouts, water parsley, soft rice cakes, and this big ass potato ball. I'm gonna try the chicken first. Oh my god. And that spice actually does creep up on you. Since my trip to Korea, I've had a shit ton of like red sauce, different kinds. They're all some kind of variant of like gochujang. And I'm sorry if I'm kind of lacking proper vocabulary to describe all the proper ingredients right now, but this red seasoning right here is literally probably the best I've tried in Korea so far. A lot of times with these sauces, you're really getting that sweet, spicy profile, which is really delicious on its own, but sometimes after a few bites, it feels really cloying, it's really rich. The sauce here is just so exquisite with that spicy, savory flavor and with that touch of sweetness that is so well balanced. It's also really fragrant with the sesame seeds. I think you're also tasting that chicken essence in there. The spice is also slightly acidic, which makes it really, really appetizing. Among all the similar sauces I've tried so far, this is the best one, hands down. And I'm gonna try the potato and the bean sprouts. Oh yeah. I know it's literally just potatoes and bean sprouts, but god, do they do it so well here. It almost has this creamy mashed texture to it. And they're so great at absorbing all that spicy seasoning just because of how mashed they are. So well cooked. And then the bean sprouts, they're also really fresh. It just adds this really nice, refreshing crunch. Honestly, my recommendation so far is if you're with a group of people, definitely order this dish because you already waited so long in line for this. It's really worth a try. Don't get me wrong, if I had to choose between the two, I would still go for the samgyeopsal, but I also think this spicy braised chicken is just as good. It's just so hearty, so flavorful, makes you feel super, super cozy, but also really full. But because this is so delicious, I just can't stop eating. Highly, highly recommend. So right now we're here at Jeju Rooftop Black Barbecue, and this place is absolutely stunning. It feels really premium just being here. As you walk right in, it really feels like you are now entering this cozy cave. There's just this really nice warm light everywhere. I love the stone walls and wooden accents in here. It's giving this rustic, earthy atmosphere. I guess the whole setting is meant to evoke those Jeju volcanic vibes. So what makes this place really unique is they specialize in Jeju black pork. It's basically a really priced kind of pork that is raised on the island, and they're really well known for their rich flavor, tender texture, and just beautiful marbling. I love that you can also see a meat display in the restaurant. Each part of that black pig is just carefully trimmed and neatly kept. So today we're gonna order the signature black barbecue set, and since I'm with my parents, the portions that you're seeing here is actually for 3 people. We're also gonna get the Jeju style seafood platter because it looks so good. This place is slowly getting a lot of traction in the West, so I'm really curious to see if it actually lives up to the hype. I feel really taken care of here because as soon as I sent the order, they basically started setting up with the side dishes. There's this green onion salad, some cabbages, different kinds of kimchi, potato salad, my favorite. You also get your personal tray, which contains a bunch of condiments. From left to right, there's special salt, 9 kinds of herbs mixed in with like dried shrimp, wasabi, and then the last one is pollock roe. Here we have the citrus cider, and then my parents got the peach cider. I'm actually gonna steal a sip of their peach cider just to see what it's like. The flavor is pretty decent. It has a pretty good balance of like sweet and tart, although again, it does lean on the sweet side. It's also a little bit floral. And this is my drink. This is the citrus soda. It looks like orange juice right now. I'm gonna give it a try. Oh yeah, I much prefer this because you're actually getting a lot of the pulp but it's not like your orange juice kind of pulp. I feel I'm actually getting those zesty peeled lemon bits in there. This is a sweet drink, but that said, because the citrusy flavors are really acidic, there's a really good balance in here. It just feels well balanced. This is a really great way to start the meal. All right, so here it comes to me. Just looking at the presentation, so beautiful. It looks like we have some pork belly, different cuts of pork neck, as well as pork ribs. And by the way, each table actually has its own grill, so it feels super spacious. And these days at restaurants like these, they actually have a grill master that just does everything for you. So you can just sit back and relax and enjoy. But in my case, I will be so busy reviewing everything. So first up, we have the special pork neck piece. The staff said to dip it in the special salt first and eat it like that. So I'm gonna go ahead. But it's definitely a little bit salty. The piece I just had, it's definitely got that really nice rich pork flavor in there. I also love how the exterior, it's really nicely caramelized. That said, I was kind of expecting more of that juiciness, but I'm not really getting that. It feels a little bit dried out. Okay, it looks like the thicker version of the pork neck is ready. Since it's so thick, I'm gonna go ahead and try it with wasabi. Oh wow, this pork neck piece has a really unique chew to it. It's a little bit different than belly in a sense that the chew feels more substantial. It's a little bit more on the lean side, but that said, it's still incredibly juicy. I definitely prefer this one over the last bite that I had. I just love how tender it is, and it's just really packed with that umami, rich, meaty flavor. And so excellent with that wasabi because it really helps cut through all that richness. Actually, my mom loved this piece so much that she said this is the best pork she's had in her life. I think that says a lot as a Chinese person because we eat a shit ton of pork. The belly's definitely taking a while to grill, but it's such a fat piece, so totally understandable. All right, looks like it's ready. I just love seeing those separation of layers on there. That's how you know it's gonna be a good pork belly. I'm just gonna try this one plain. Unfortunately, the part that I just had, I think it does have a bit of a tendony part in there. As I'm chewing it, I'm getting a bit of that crackle in my mouth. That is not entirely pleasant. But that said, the pork itself is really, really flavorful. There's a really good balance of fat and lean parts in there. It's not quite melt in your mouth yet, but again, that rich flavor that you would expect from a Jeju black pork, it really does come through. I actually feel like the pork here is just so high quality that I don't really need any of the condiments because for me, I really like to taste the pureness of the meat. That's always the best way to tell whether or not something is super high quality. And now our chef is cooking the last piece, which is the pork ribs. Ah, just look at that sear. All right, and here we have the cut up pieces. Just gonna go ahead. Oh wow. I think out of all the pieces I had, pork rib is actually my favorite one. Even though it has a higher fat content, which is not usually my preference, but because it's so rich and fatty, you're also getting more of that porky flavor in a really, really good way. It is rendered so well here, maybe because of how they crisp cut it. Umami, fatty juiciness definitely comes through more in this piece. All right, so it looks like the grilled vegetables are ready and it's paired with this cream sauce. I'm just gonna dive right in and try my favorite corn. Oh yeah. I just can't stop myself from eating it. Because it is roasted vegetables after all, I'm really loving that char. That's what's giving that smokiness. But at the same time, they definitely cooked it perfectly. It's not overcooked. The corn is not mushy. It still has that juicy crunch in there, which I really appreciate. And when you pair with the cream, I was expecting it to be really heavy, but it doesn't feel that way at all. It's kind of lighter. It just adds a thin layer of buttery richness to the vegetables. It's kind of like putting butter on corn. But ultimately, it's really the natural sweetness from the vegetables that really shine. I'm so glad that the cream did not steal the spotlight. Oh my god, guys. This one right here looks absolutely incredible. It's so beautiful, like a piece of art. So here we have the Jeju seafood platter, which includes sweet shrimp, raw beef, uni, as well as salmon roe. It also comes with a spread of seaweed. There's 2 different types. I just love the colors here. It's so pretty. Man, I can't wait to destroy this thing. So it actually comes with a side of the sesame oil that's a little bit sweet, but I really want to taste the clean flavors of the seafood, so I'm just gonna go ahead and eat it plain. All right, I made a beautiful wrap. Let's give it a try. Oh yeah, wow. That felt so indulgent. What's really happening here is definitely that interplay between the textures and the flavors. I think that's really what makes this whole bite really unique. The Korean tartare, it's really tender and buttery. You can taste the freshness of the beef. It has a little bit of a chew, but it's like really, really tender. And of course the uni, you're getting that lovely briny sweetness. It feels really rich, but it's also so fresh. I'm a big fan of raw shrimp, and this one right here does not disappoint. It has the briny sweetness and juiciness creaminess that I'm looking for. It's a little bit slimy in texture, but not overly slimy. And then when you pair with those little pops of salmon roe, which gives you that burst of like umami and savoriness, it's just so heavenly. The seaweed wrapper here is also really, really crucial because it adds this really aromatic, fragrant, smoky flavors to the overall thing. This one is not exactly crispy, but it has this incredible ocean flavor to it. It feels really earthy, just really flavorful on its own, and it just pairs so well with all that fresh seafood. It's just an entire ocean in your mouth. And finally, we have this dessert that is actually provided free of charge. It's complimentary on the house. I'm just gonna go ahead. You know what it reminds me of? The milky candy, that Japanese candy that I grew up with. It has this nice caramelized flavor. It's also really creamy, very buttery, but it's like not overly sweet. And in terms of texture, I would say it's kind of like a mix between a sorbet and a soft serve. Kind of reminds me of a froyo texture. It's definitely a lot more refreshing and a really great way to kind of cleanse your palate after such a greasy meal. So this pretty much wraps up part 1 of our Seoul food tour. Honestly, every meal that I had here was pretty good, and I feel like they're really unique to what Seoul has to offer. Unless you're a super critical and picky foodie, I think you'll enjoy most of these places. But per usual, I will be listing my top 3 restaurants, and number 1 would be Muguok. That was amazing. The chicken was incredible, but what impresses me the most is how they're able to infuse all those flavors into stewed chicken. It looks like such a simple dish, but man, are there layers of flavor and depth. This is definitely one of our most favorite meals here in Seoul, and one that we cannot wait to go back to in our next visit. Number 2 would be Jinmi Sikdang for their raw marinated crab. Really amazing. A really simple marinade, but the balance of flavors was just incredible. It just felt so elegant. Number 3 is Artist Bakery, and this is actually a spot I think is worth the wait, except I would only do takeout next time. From the soups to all the pastries I tried, everything was amazing in texture and flavor, very buttery, very crispy. My particular favorite is the plain salt bread. I wish I could import this back to the States. I also want to give a shout out to Yukhoe Buchon for their super fresh raw beef. Those flavors were incredible, and Hotel GGoodd also had a pretty good honey pork pasta. It was just so tasty. And yeah, that pretty much wraps up part 1 of our Seoul food tour. If there are other chains, spots, or other dishes you would love for me to try next, please comment down below. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see part 2, as well as more food tours here in Seoul and in Asia. There's going to be so much good stuff, I promise. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys real soon. Bye!